Hey everyone, Dan here. It is just before close on Monday, June 28th. Today we're going to take a look at Unity software. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps lots. And also feel free to comment below. This ticker was suggested by a commenter on a video, and that's the reason I'm covering it today. Just know that in the comments, I should mention this probably, if it's a question about should I buy this tomorrow, or what's a good price to get this at tomorrow? I mean, I'm never going to say anything beyond what's just already said in the video. So if you say what's should be my plan for tomorrow, I'm just going to tell you what my plan is, which is what I would have said in the video anyway. So I'm going to just start commenting on those with like refer to the video, because it's just a waste of time. And then also I'm getting slower as time goes on with the comments. I mean, at this point, I'm often getting hundreds in a night, and I can't keep up with that volume. So I'll do my best to get back, and I will still jot down a note for any tickers that you recommend, but just know I might be slower to get back, and it's not for any reason other than it's just a lot of volume, and I'm super thankful for that. And I'll continue to answer things daily, but just be patient with me. Just know I'm not ignoring you. All right, so Unity is here. Almost 2 million in volume today, which is a bit shy. On a Monday, I'm not quite sure why there'd be folks kind of sitting on the sideline. It might be partially because there's so much other craziness in the market that they're just kind of tending to that. But it does look like an interesting company. If you look at the profile here, if you're not familiar, I wasn't. Creating and operating interactive real-time 3D content, provides solutions for mobile phones, tablets, personal computers, consoles, augmented and virtual reality devices. So interesting area to be in at this juncture. This is a pretty new to the marketplace, I should say. Definitely not new to market, but newly listed company. You see, this is their birth in terms of like being on the exchange, was mid to late September of last year. So this is the entirety of their trading history on a daily time frame. So I thought we'd start here to plot out some areas of interest, and then we'll zoom into a shorter time frame because there is definitely the broader context of price points and targets that we can look for that stretch back to this initial run up here and then this initial retracement here. But then there's also things that we can definitely glean from the shorter term that tell us just sort of like what the sentiment is today, not accounting for many months ago. So let's do that, and then we'll hop over to a couple of like interesting items that I found in the data that I thought I would share as supplemental info. So there is some interesting price targets up here. You see this gap. It's obviously leaving gaps quite often, and it does seem to be filling them pretty repeatedly. If one here as well that was filled. So, I would look at this one as a potential frequent gap filler, which then begs the question, will this gap get filled sometime soon? And it would have to be pretty soon because this gap was created in February. I don't know if this had anything in particular to do with, the sell-off, but if you remember, there was growth stocks getting crushed at that point, and then had a hard first half of the year, basically. But there could have been a specific to Unity news item that came through on that one. But there is that giant gap, which would be really interesting if it came up, on this bullish run that it's on right now, to make a run at like 146, 147 to cut through the remainder of that gap. That said, I think 115.27 is the first point at which Unity is going to want to flip resistance to supports. And then if we come down a little bit here, I would take a look at this zone here. You have support, and then resistance, recent support, and resistance and support over here. So pretty good zone there if you need sort of like a dip buy zone. If you're looking for a potential dip buy, I would take a look at that 106.91. that could be a good opportunity. Though I think when we zoom in, I mean, I guess if that's a longer term opportunity, when we zoom in, we might see some better dip buying opportunities. Below that, if it couldn't hold something like maybe about this zone right here, 97.03, if it comes down that far, that would be a place where you may want to consider stop loss kind of territory. If you're even willing to take on that much risk, to be honest. Could certainly set that sort of like midway between that 97 and that 102. Probably be very fair. Also, to the upside, if we're thinking about days of greener pastures, I would look for a bit here. You have nice resistance, nice support lining up there at 130. Let's see, that is a nice jump, which could be cool. But let's see, that zone here that kind of looks on the left side like it could be interesting over here with this quick flip, resistance to support. It has support here, but I wish that it would have tested it a little bit more solidly. As sort of like a questionable area, we'll put that in there. I'll put it as a yellow because it might be nothing. Because what this could also mean, the reason I kind of wanted to see if there was something likely in between there is, if Unity gets solid support at 115.27, that would give it really good running room for about $15, which would be a great percentage jump over a short period of time. It would be over 10%. So that would be great. So maybe look for a little stickiness in that 123, though I think that might be kind of pretty questionable, to be honest. Then beyond that, I would look at sort of like just before you start to get into this gap, you might hit some rockiness. That might be a good opportunity if it does bounce off there to come down and think about dip buying around 130 and then let it make its next run at filling that gap, hoping that it would. Of course, then the next area would be just at the top of that gap fill. Would be a place to potentially think about trimming, taking profit, that sort of thing. And then around 157, if it does continue to the upside, catches some good catalysts, the momentum is just so with it at that point that it carries it up higher. Those would be interesting price points that I would look for. But I think these are the best sort of price points to be thinking of. If we want to do sort of an in-between look here, if we want to see broken out over the last month where sentiment lies with the indicators, still relatively low on the RSI, given that there's been this big run up. And it made a couple of solid runs into overbought territory, which is something we've talked about before. When something runs into overboughts and you kind of let it do that and then wait for it to pull back about midline, it didn't even pull down that far. You would have still had to catch it around 56, 57, and be willing to kind of assume it's about to run back up. But definitely did that thing, which is interesting. It looks like it's done that a few times in the past too, looking back here. But anyway, nothing preventing more buying pressure from coming in on the RSI side of things. On the MACD, the bullish momentum has died off at the moment, and definitely a big run of bearish momentum there. Though, in the full context of things, feels as though it actually wasn't able to beat the price down that much, given how hefty of a run-up this has been recently. But anyway, there could be a bit of a bearish cross at the moment, though it does seem to be, looking like it might be forming another green candle. So maybe they're going to come down and kiss and then pop off, which if it does, that could put in play a nice run, especially if you can work out of this box and not double top out there. I would pay attention to this area short term. Be trying to not pop out of that. Too many things in the way here. I can't get away from the plus. Okay, we're just going to put it there. So, I would pay attention to there to see if it's not going to top out again there and then potentially push down and test that 106. That could be how we get a test of 106, but if it does get itself on top of this white box around 113.50, get support there, it should make that run to 115.28 support, I would think. And at that point, we'll cross over in a bullish formation on the MACD, and it's coming from below the baseline. So it is nice to see that it's trying to reignite that bullish momentum before actually introducing any bearish momentum into the picture. Let's go down to the 5-day so that I can point out something else here. Well, maybe that's not going to be my ideal time frame. Let me see again. No, I thought that was going to do it. All right, this month will do it then. So this channel that it's in is interesting to me, though it even looks a little bit better on the 3-month, which is interesting. Yeah, let's pop it out on the 3-month chart. So this would be, a channel to look at playing probably for a bit longer term of a position, to be honest, because we're looking at the 2-hour time frame. So these are like slow, kind of clunky movements. I don't know how it's sort of more of a T-Rex trudging through the prehistoric wood or jungle than anything. But here we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total tests of this one, 3 on the top and 3 on the bottom. So it's really solid channel at the moment, and it is upper to mid channel. So definitely an opportunity, a lot of opportunity for it to stay in this channel. So what you might want to think about for like longer term positions. Sorry, I thought this was going to be the short term portion of the show, but I think that the additional topping out price area that we charted here, I think, is important short term, as do I think, just while we're here, confirming the support in this area so that it doesn't breach a bunch of lower lows as this sort of like sad face has taken shape. So I would look for those things in the short term. We'll zoom back in a sec. But, if you were to dip by at the bottom of the channel and then take profit, sell at the top, and you had done that each of the 3 times that it went from bottom to top, you would have had nice repeatable profits, just having to watch and track this one ticker, for that portion of your portfolio. But, that's the nice part of the channel being sort of like on a 2-hour time frame, is you don't really have to look at it every day, because you know whether or not it's near-ish to the top or the bottom. And if it is, then you can watch it like a hawk. But the many, many days or weeks that it takes it to run from the bottom to even start be in a place to look at it, gives you a bunch of time in between. You can just set a price alert and say, okay, if it's around this price, then I'll sort of have a look. Or you can just give it a quick look every day and see where it lies in the channel. So, that's what I would do if I were looking at sort of a longer term position here. And that could be something like a few months to a year would be sort of my idea with that one. So this is the other zone to think about. So it bounced off this recently, but there's all of this support back here, and then where it jumped off when it sort of like started to make this sad face back here, that's the zone in which I would be looking. Oh, sorry, it's this one here, zone in which I would be looking for it to maintain, so that it, can get support up here. Who knows, maybe it even consolidates a little bit more and bounces between these two. But I would just be very cautious if it falls below here, what might be happening. Obviously, the next thing would be a bounce off that 106.91, but, just some things to consider as we go through. All right, so a couple of news items to talk about, and before we pop over to those, let me just mention that there are 3 other links in the description. If you want to scroll down through, there's a free newsletter that I'm going to be launching. It'll be 1 to 2 emails a week. This won't be for a couple of months. Right now it's just a Google form where I'm collecting emails so we could have another place to share trade ideas and interesting things that we see. And then there's 2 brokers. This is Webull that I'm using right now for the charting. So a link to try them out is down there. They're a free broker. And then the other free broker is Gatsby, which is a really modern UI, UX. You'll, I think, enjoy the feel, enjoy the execution times, that sort of thing. You don't go there to chart and all that jazz. I do that here. And then if I'm not using Webull for the trade, I go to Gatsby and go ahead and execute there. But I know what it is that I'm going in to buy and when. Okay, so the couple of things that I thought it would be worth taking a look at are the analysts side of things here. There's a little bit of a mixed bag, but the consensus is relatively positive. The price target is up about 13-14% higher than where we see it right now. And this isn't to say that like we follow the analysts wherever they go. It's more like, to the extent that like institutions or other investors do follow the analyst recommendation, we may see the price sort of float in that direction, just sort of like as a byproduct of those analyst ratings being out. Something to keep in mind anyway. And obviously there have been some good news items recently. Cathie Wood, I assume they're talking about her buying Unity in here for the ARK fund, and then Jim Cramer, watch the stock you've never heard of. Obviously a lot of folks watch that show. So it does potentially have some additional tailwinds based on the data or news items, however you see them, that could help push this along and get like an interesting kind of run going here. Definitely a lot of potential upside, as we can see. Oh, nice! You can even see the channel in the daily, but I wouldn't look at it from here. That's challenging. But yeah, this would be my targets. And I'm sort of still trying to figure out if I have headspace to take on a position in this one. But it's definitely on my radar. It's an interesting one. I appreciate whoever suggested it. All right, well, thanks a bunch for watching. I appreciate it. I hope your trading week is off to a good start. And I will see you in the next video.